All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about something huge, the arrival of large language models, LLMs, in the super high-stakes world of finance. This isn't some far-off future scenario. It's a revolution that's happening right now, and we're going to break down exactly what it all means. So, let's just start with a number that's kind of mind-blowing. 85%. Get this. According to a recent workshop with experts from huge firms like Amundi, BNP, and Generali, that's how many financial organizations are already using or actively experimenting with LLMs. So yeah, this trend is already here. Finance is usually a pretty cautious industry, right? But the speed at which it's adopting LLMs has been, well, remarkable. So what are these new AI systems actually doing? What's their job? And let's be super clear about this. We are not talking about robot overlords taking over Wall Street, so you can breathe a sigh of relief. The experts all agree the main focus right now is using LLMs as incredibly powerful assistants. They're tools to boost the skills of human professionals, making them way faster and able to crunch more data than ever before. Okay, so they're assistants, but what are they assisting with? The applications are seriously broad. So let's take a look at the key areas where these LLMs are already making a real difference. So the experts kind of group all these uses into four big buckets. First up, public communication. Think chatbots for customer service or tools that can translate complicated financial jargon into plain English. Then we've got financial services safety. This is where AI helps spot fraud or flag weird activity in the market. Third is financial insight generation. This is where LLMs tear through news and reports to find valuable market insights. And finally, financing and investment activities, basically helping with everything from managing assets to analyzing company reports. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at how firms are prioritizing things. You can see the highest use right now is on the internal stuff, like financing and investment. But check out the 2-year forecast for public communication. A massive 70% of firms are planning to jump in. That's a huge leap. It shows that they started cautiously behind the scenes, but they are getting ready to go big with customer-facing applications, and fast. But, it can't all be good news, right? With great power comes great risk. And when you deploy tech this powerful in a sector as sensitive as finance, you have to ask the big question, what could possibly go wrong? Well, the experts have identified 5 major categories of potential harm. And here they are. First, harms to the quality of service. The AI gives bad advice or just makes a mistake. Second, legal and reputational harms. This is a huge one for these companies. Then there are representational harms, where the AI accidentally reflects biases from our society. And finally, harms to our well-being and even human rights. Now, the two that really keep experts up at night, the first two, poor quality of service and the massive legal and reputational nightmare that could follow. So, you've got this amazing new tool, but it's also kind of dangerous. How do you handle that? How does the industry move forward? Well, the core of what we're looking at today is this 5-pillar framework that experts are building to make sure these models are used responsibly. Let's walk through them. Pillar number 1 is robustness. And in simple terms, this is all about trust. Can you actually rely on what the AI is telling you? Will it give you the same correct answer every single time? It has to be dependable, even when things get weird or it's fed unexpected information. Probably the biggest challenge here is something you've likely heard of: hallucinations. That's when the AI confidently just makes stuff up. To fight this, firms are using a few strategies, like always keeping a human in the loop to check the work. And there's this really powerful technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. Think of it like giving the AI an open book test. It forces the LLM to base its answers on a specific trusted database, which makes it way, way more accurate. And of course, you can't have a robust model without good data, which brings us right to our second pillar, data dependency. This is like the first rule of AI. Your model is only as good as the data you train it on. Garbage in, garbage out. It's that simple. The big challenge here is that the giant firms have access to mountains of high-quality private data. This gives them a massive, some might say unfair advantage. The report even calls it a large firm data hegemony. So to level the playing field, a couple of solutions are popping up. Using super realistic synthetic data for training and big open data projects like the EU's European Single Access Point, which wants to make key financial info available to everyone. Our third pillar is a huge one: security and privacy. I mean, in finance, this is everything, right? The entire industry is built on trust. So this is all about protecting the AI from cyber attacks and This is critical, making sure sensitive client data stays locked down and confidential. You might think the biggest threat is some super hacker in a dark room, but very often, the weakest link is just simple human error. Someone accidentally pasting confidential info into a public chatbot. That's why the best defenses are actually pretty straightforward. Really good staff training and strict technical rules that limit what the AI can see and do. Okay, pillar number 4. This one is tricky. Fairness and bias. This is a massive ethical minefield. If you train an AI on historical data that reflects old societal biases, like in loan applications, the AI can learn those biases, bake them into its code, and then amplify them on a massive scale. But here's the wild part, and it's a bit of a paradox. While biased data is a huge problem, the report points out that a well-designed AI system could actually help reduce human bias. By forcing decisions to be objective and data-driven, and by using special tools to audit for fairness, these systems could potentially lead to fairer outcomes than humans do on their own. And all of this brings us to our final and maybe most important pillar: accountability and explainability. This gets at two huge questions. First, if an AI messes up, who's to blame? And second, can we even figure out why the AI made the decision it did? This is what people call the black box problem. Cracking open that black box is a really tough nut, but new techniques are starting to help. There's one called chain of thought prompting, which basically forces the LLM to show its work. It has to lay out the logical steps it took to get to an answer. It's like telling a student, don't just give me the answer, show your reasoning. This makes the whole process way more transparent, which is a giant leap for accountability. So that's the framework the industry is trying to build. But what about governments and regulators? What are the actual rules of the game that are starting to form around all this? Well, the big one to watch is the European Union's AI Act. It's one of the first major laws for AI anywhere in the world. And it's pretty smart. It doesn't treat all AI the same. It uses a risk-based approach, so it puts the toughest rules on high-risk things like credit scoring, while just asking for transparency from more general models. It's really a blueprint that the rest of the world has its eyes on. And honestly, this one quote from the report just nails it. The complexity of these models demands a delicate balance. If you move too slow, you miss out on innovation. If you move too fast, you risk a total disaster. The entire financial industry is walking that exact tightrope right now. Which, of course, leaves us with the ultimate question. There's no doubt AI is completely reshaping the world of finance. It's here, and it's moving at a breathtaking pace. The guardrails are being built as the car is speeding down the highway. But will we get that delicate balance right? Only time will tell. Thanks for tuning in.